how and why YouTube is stealing your data. Have you ever wondered how so much content online is free, and in many cases like here on YouTube, shockingly personalized to your interest? How is it that websites like YouTube learn your interests without you explicitly telling them? And how can they provide so much entertainment for free? The answer? User data. By learning who you are, they can know what sorts of ads to serve you on and off of YouTube. This all starts when you create your Gmail account. The preliminary data you give them, like age and sex, allow Google to sort you into a box. Male 18 to 24, female 35 to 44, male 65 to 74. And then they can start giving you ads that companies have paid to give them to certain brackets of people. For example, a company that makes hair loss products would pay Google to show their ads to X number of people, and then pay extra to ensure that those people are in an age and gender bracket most commonly associated with hair loss. Because they had just paid Google to show their ads to random people, their ads would end up in front of people who are extremely unlikely to be interested in their product, like females who are 18 to 24, for instance. By putting you to the basic categories of gender and age, Google is able to sell their advertising spaces at higher rates, and companies are often willing to pay those rates to increase the chances of sales. This gets taken to the next level here on YouTube, with the use of deep learning algorithms. Here the boxes can get even more specific based on what content you voluntarily choose to interact with. The algorithms on YouTube have one primary job that has two extremely valuable outcomes. The algorithms seek to find what content interests you the most so that they can know what ads are best to show you and what content is going to keep you on the platform the longest so that they can keep showing you more ads. For example, if the algorithm sees that you click on a lot of cooking videos, it will recommend you more of that type of video and signal to advertisers that you are worth more to advertise cooking products and content to. While it is important to recognize the positive value of the algorithm, like how it means the content that is recommended to you is the stuff that you are likely interested in, versus you having to sift through the literal hundreds of billions of existing YouTube videos to find the ones that actually interest you. This comes at the cost of being presented with too much content that interests you, which can lead you to spending way more time than you would like on YouTube. Going along with this is the problem that once YouTube knows what you like and starts serving you targeted ads, you will become more likely to buy a product that you do not need. And while we do not have time to get into it in this video, it is important to recognize the algorithm's ability to unintentionally radicalize people by recommending increasingly radical political content over time. But as far as data collection on YouTube and Google services as a whole goes, Google claims to not sell your personal information to advertisers directly. Instead, they act as their own middleman and ask companies interested in doing targeted ads to give them the demographics that they want to reach. And then Google is the one that actually knows who those people are and gives them the ads. While this may seem somewhat altruistic, it is mostly driven by the profit motive of keeping our specific user data to themselves to prevent companies from reselling that information, which keeps Google as the mandatory middleman in the data market. Another caveat here is that while Google might not be selling your personal user data, they are still tracking and keeping it across Google services, and it can become possible for them to track your movement through Google Maps, shopping interests through Google searches and Google Maps, personal interests through Google searches and YouTube, and who you are connected to through Gmail, Google messaging services. And even if Google does not do as they claim and keep this information to themselves, it should still be cause for concern, because who knows when it might become the more profitable option to capitalize off this information and sell it, or what new algorithms will be able to do with it when it comes to recommending content. So, what are some short-term and long-term solutions or mitigations that we as consumers and citizens can enact today or push for in legislation? A very quick recommendation is to use incognito mode or another browser like DuckDuckGo when searching anything personal that you don't want companies to track. For short-term solutions, there's a whole set of settings within Google that can help mitigate the amount of level of information collected on you. To start, click on the three dots on the top right of your Chrome window, and then click on Settings. Then navigate to the Privacy and Security page. There you can choose to do things like disabling third-party cookies, which can make it harder for other companies to track you across multiple websites. You should also go to myaccount.google.com, then Data and Privacy, then Web and App Activity. Once you are there are several different options to choose from to relate how long Google logs your history for. While we recommend limiting how long Google holds your data for, the choice is ultimately yours. It's important to remember that having Google record your searches can make using Google more convenient, since it is easier to find pages that you have previously visited. At the bottom of the Web and App Activity, there's a setting called Add Personalization. Well, we recommend that you turn it off. We would recommend that first clicking on Go to Ad Settings and looking at what topics Google thinks you're interested in and what social class and demographic they estimate you to be in. Also, at the very bottom of this page, there are options to restrict advertising relating to gambling or alcohol, which could be helpful if you're recovering from issues related to either. As for long-term solutions, while there's not much you can do at an individual level, being conscious of data privacy issues and willing to advocate for change and willing to vote based around these issues is very important. Compared to Europe and some other countries around the world, America is lacking a lot when it comes to protection of its citizens online. While children under 13 and people living in some states have extra legal protection when it comes to how companies can track their data, U.S. citizens as a whole lack protection. We need to expect more from our government to promote more personal data privacy. If you would like to know more on some of the topics covered in the video, there are other helpful videos linked in this video description. Thanks for watching!